Hello, I'm the Media Wiz, because one art form wasn't enough. Let's talk about E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and the legacy that it left behind. E.T. the Extraterrestrial is obviously the classic 80s sci-fi family film by Steven Spielberg. It's about a little boy of a single mother who befriends an alien who landed on Earth and is trying to get back home. In other words, it's what Planet 51 was trying to play off of, and it wasn't as good. The movie won over the hearts of critics and audiences and stands the test of time to this day. Since the original release, it's gotten home video releases on VHS, Lucas-style DVD re-releases that alters things like guns to walkie-talkies, a soundtrack, a slew of rip-off movies from Mac and Me to porn spoofs, a 2019 short film pseudo-sequel from Xfinity, tie-ins with food companies like McDonald's to, surprise surprise, Reese's Pieces, a theme park ride at Universal, a novelization that seems to follow one of the original scripts, the video game, which was considered one of the worst games ever made, and of course, toy and action figure tie-ins. You want to know what's truly funny about this E.T. figure here? Do you want to know the company that made this? I kid you not, LJN. Yeah, that company that's responsible for all those terrible movie and TV show tie-in games for like Nintendo and SNES, aside from that one admittedly awesome Spider-Man game. Yeah, for all that, they were known for doing tie-ins for figures and board games. And this E.T. figure right here was one of theirs. So you'll notice it has an extending neck with a little thing in the back right here. And for what it's worth, the articulation on the arms is actually pretty good on this figure. So yeah, maybe LJN, maybe they should have just stuck to doing toy and board game design instead of trying to get into electronics with video games. And of course, there's always the board game. Now, when it comes to board games that I've covered for this show, we've had a variety of different board game tie-ins to popular franchises. We've had a board game based on a movie and book about a board game with Jumanji, 2 Monopoly games with Ponies and Halo, an Ed, Ed and Eddy jigsaw puzzle, a Doctor Who card game, and an actually pretty fun SpongeBob board game. And now we've come to an E.T. board game, released by Parker Brothers in 1982. So here's the game board. While mildly creepy, it's very impressively done. It's very well drawn, very well illustrated. I just noticed, like, the shades of magenta and the color of the rainbow. It's like a better version of the poster for Barney's Great Adventure. And then you get to the back of the box where it has this big explanation for what's going to be used, a thin outline of what the objective of the game is, a picture of all the pieces and the board itself. It's the typical kind of thing that you saw in a lot of old school 80s board games. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, a Parker Brothers board game based on the movie. Ages 7 to 14, number of players 2 to 4, equipment, and basically just lists out all the stuff that you're going to be using for the game. Appropriate playing time, 25 to 40 minutes. Can you imagine if, like, video games nowadays did that? It's like, if you want to play one campaign, you're going to play for roughly over an hour, and if you want to beat all the campaigns, you're going to be here for 4 to 5 hours. Object. Who's your new friend? It's E.T., that lovable creature from far, far away. But E.T. is sad because he misses his home. Can you and your friends help him return to his planet? Guide him from the adults as you collect all the things he needs to phone home. Then guide him to the spaceship landing site and place him inside the special 3-dimensional spaceship. The one who helps E.T. the most is the winner. So now we take everything out of the box like so. We take this off and you see we have the board right here, which for some reason has 4 E.T.s all around the board. I don't know what that's about. So this is the board, and then you get to the pieces, which are right here in this helpful little Ziploc bag that someone put when I bought this game off of eBay. So now that we have the board and all the pieces laid out, how is the game played exactly? Like the back of the box says, the objective is to get E.T. to the center of the board to his spaceship. A papier-mâché spaceship, which my copy sadly doesn't have. From what it looks like on the back of the box, it actually looks like it'd be pretty cool. Along the way, the players have to collect these chips that are placed all along the board. The person who collects the most chips is what gets E.T. to his ship faster as you go along the circle around the board. The player can also collect puzzle pieces laid around the board, which are used to make the transmitter beacon for the ship. Your moves are decided by the specifically made die that goes 1 to 3. All the spaces on the board that you can land on include spaces that make you lose a piece or a certain amount of chips after E.T. gets seen by an adult or these government guys in suits, a hide and stuffed animals space, which E.T. can hide in as a way to not be seen, a hide and stuffed animals place, which hides E.T., a ghost costume space, which can also be equipped through a card, the Gertie spaces and playground spaces, which get the player more chips, tracker van spaces, and the flying spaces. Aside from the ghost costume, which gives you the ability to potentially hide on certain spaces, there is also these E.T. and Elliot cards that go along with the flying spaces. What you have to do is grab the card without looking at it, and you have to guess which side you picked up, either the E.T. or Elliot side. If you're correct, you can jump forward to the closest flying space. If it's incorrect, then you can't jump to that space, and other players might be able to guess it correctly and get a chance to land on that flying space instead. So, was this better than the E.T. video game? Well, automatically yes, but objectively speaking, was this a good E.T. game? E.T. the board game is alright. The board and the pieces are well designed, at least the ones that I have anyway. I still have yet to put together a papier-mâché spaceship, so I can't really comment on that. The gameplay is pretty unique, having the characters go in a circular motion, and 2 to 4 players having control over one key game piece. The spaces are mostly creative and follow the elements of the movie's plot pretty well, though it would have been more interesting if they changed up certain things, like potentially add certain spaces or cards that could potentially screw over other players. But for what it's worth, it is at least an entertaining game. It's sort of the same way I felt about the Jumanji board game. I feel like kids or nostalgic adults who are really familiar with the source material are the prime audience for this game. Well, if you're a diehard fan of E.T. and you want to experience everything from the franchise, you can get your hands on it, and you want something that's better than the video game, yeah, then I'd recommend this game. I'm the Media Wiz, because One Art Form wasn't enough.